So we remember we talked about food. We put the food inside the mouth. And then after we swallowed it from esophagus to stomach, it is called bolus. And then in the stomach, we call it chyme. And then we just finished talking about the segmentation peristalsis. And from the previous video, I asked you what kind of cartilage made out of esophagus. Not esophagus, what kind of cartilage made out of the epiglottis. So epiglottis is made by elastic cartilage. Elastic cartilage made epiglottis, external ear. How do I memorize it? Very easy. E, 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 E. So all the E goes together. So this is very easy to memorize. That's how I teach my anatomy student. So we mentioned about segmentation. Peristalsis. So the function of peristalsis is to move food forward. Segmentation is to you can call it mixes food, but this is a mechanical digestion. It mixes food for mechanical digestion. Mechanical digestion to increase the surface area of the food so that the enzyme can work on it. And then another important function is to increase the time for absorption. So that is a very important function. And then it has, now we talk about the molecules, the stuff that it digests. We talk about digestion. Digestion and absorption now. Carbohydrate. For carbohydrate, we have glucose and galactose. We use secondary active transport. Remember secondary active transport we cover at the beginning of the semester. We talk about it when we talk about gathering, how gathering works. So secondary active transport, just a reminder, does not require ATP directly. And then for fructose, it uses facilitated diffusion for fructose. And for cellulose, where do we get cellulose in the food? If you think about it, cellulose is the carbohydrate that made up of the cell wall of a plant. So whenever we eat a vegetable or fruit, we will get cellulose. But cellulose cannot be digested by a human being. We don't have the enzyme to do that. And then for starch and glycogen, we have what enzyme to break down starch and glycogen into maltose? Remember which enzyme? Yes, amylase. We have two sources of amylase. One, of course, from saliva. But majority of the digestion of the starch and glycogen we uses the pancreas, pancreatic amylase. So pancreas secrete a lot of amylase to digest the starch and glycogen. And then after that, after it becomes maltose, again, if you remember, it is glucose plus glucose. It is a disaccharide made out of two glucose molecules. It will become glucose plus glucose. What enzyme will break down maltose into two glucose molecules? Since we are talking about breaking down maltose, so the logic is that the enzyme is called maltase. Remember, OSE means sugar, ASE means enzyme. So maltase, it is an enzyme that can break down maltose. Where can we find maltase? Small intestine. Small intestine also have enzyme for digesting sucrose and lactose. We call it sucrase. And lactase. And as we know that lactase is the enzyme that breaks down lactose into galactose and glucose. And for people who have lactose intolerance, because the body stopped making lactase, this enzyme, what happened? I remember I told you before, but let me repeat. What happened in lactose intolerance is that when we drink milk, and then milk has lactose. And then lactose, when it goes down to the digestive tract, as you know that all the sugar, they will be absorbed by, all the monosaccharide will be absorbed by the small intestine, and then it will go to blood. But lactose, since the body does not produce lactase anymore in adult, the lactose cannot be broken down into monosaccharides, glucose and galactose. So lactose as a disaccharide will go all the way down to the large intestine. And in the large intestine, we have a lot of bacteria living there. And bacteria, they are usually the one that will help us to digest or process the food that we cannot digest. And suddenly you give them a disaccharide, a lactose, a sugar, which is to them is like a gourmet food. It's like lobster or steaks. So if you throw them such a gourmet food, lactose, they will eat. They will be very happy and eat it. And after they eat it, what would they do? Or after you eat a meal, what do you do? So most of the time, I have students, they understand my teaching style. They will say, oh, we poop. Yes. After you eat, you poop. Similarly, after the bacteria eat the gourmet food lactose, they also poop. But the byproduct or the waste product that they produce after they eat lactose is actually gas and also acid. They produce gas and acid, and these are the ones that irritate our bowel, so that the acid will irritate our bowel, and then our GI tract try to get rid of the acid by what? By secreting more water, or by not absorbing more water, by secreting more water and also not absorbing a lot of water in the large intestine, so that our large intestine will have a lot of water in it to rinse out the acid. When we have a lot of water in the large intestine, it causes diarrhea. So that is lactose intolerance. Next, we'll talk about protein. So A is carbohydrate, then B, we'll talk about protein, digestion. We'll go back to the lecture notes, see how it works.